You had your chance and then you blew it.
That is the most absurd statement of the year.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, baby.
I'm in my zone, I'm feeling it.
Live from West St. Paul Studios, it's time for MinneZona Sports Live with DJ Matty C and Paul the Shield Vold.
And this is MinneZona Sports Live. We are back, yes. Oop, oh, there we go, yeah. Episode 239. I had the caps lock on for some reason. Anyway, episode 239, a lot of episodes, a lot to talk about tonight. Without further ado, I'm your host, DJ Matty C, a.k.a. Matt Callahan, a.k.a. Callie, a.k.a. Matty C, etc. And all the way in Granite City Studios in St. Cloud, Minnesota, Paul Volta Shield. What's going on there, Shield?
Nothing expresses much joy in life more than after a hot day of going from the lake to home as well. Then it's installing a portable air conditioner in your bedroom so that way you can sleep comfortably at night. There are a few joys in life, and that is certainly one of them. I have been sleeping much better as of late, not sweating with the increase in the temperatures as of late. So that works out great for me.
Look, you want to be cool, especially with the hot temps, but those temps are about to go down too. So
drastically, yes.
It's good to have that in your back pocket for later on and when the weather warms up, and right now, obviously. So good that you're sleeping well and whatnot, and hopefully tonight, the Wolves fans, zoners, will sleep well. Voldy, we made our predictions before the series, and obviously with Matt Fowler last week. We have since then now changed that to something different, and that is specifically Wolves in 5. Wolves in 5, baby, yes. Because, Steph being hurt and everything like that. Look, the Wolves look like the better team. We'll talk about that here for Tater Tot Hot Take. We got the Wolves. Talk about that. Talk about tonight's game at 8:30. And then, only then, we'll talk about what you're wearing right now. The Minnesota Twins are on a 10-game winning streak. Yes.
10. Wow. 10. It's crazy.
That is very crazy. I have thoughts on that, and obviously you're probably thinking I'm going to throw a wet blanket on all of it. No, that's not what I'm doing here, All right, just wait.
see.
We'll see how this goes. But
We'll let
we
the
got
national
that.
media do the wet blanket stuff. So
Yeah,
that's
fair
kind
enough.
of their job.
It is pretty much their job, and
Yep.
yeah, but they've been all in on the Wolves, at least national media for some reason. But anyway, that's for later on. But tonight we're gonna talk about, and we were previewing this last week. We didn't get to it, but this week we got it. We are going to talk about just how Minnesota sports fans have been awesome, man. I mean, they're going to these Wolves games. They're having the time of their life. Fans are, and I willingly admit, fans are starting to go to more Twins games, which we want to see because they're winning. So that's a good thing. And we're going to talk about how passionate this fan base is, Minnesota sports in general, and just kind of explain, like, hey, it's okay to root for the squad. If they're doing good, doing bad, just enjoy the ride while we're going. So we got that. And then ARA, we got a stacked ARA tonight. The Vikings, they're playing in Dublin and London, back to back. We will talk about that. The schedule reveal, I think, is now, or at 7:30, I think.
It's literally happening right now.
Okay, it is happening right now. So we'll get the full Viking schedule and whatnot. Obviously, we won't have time to go through it, but we can highlight some games if we have time. So the Mavs, by the way, winning the draft lottery. They had 1.8% odds to win it. That's a little fishy. I don't know. There's some thoughts on that. And then the NCAA, to former Commission for NIL Help. Ooh, interesting. We got with the NCAA. Belichick's girlfriend, banned from UNC, kind of, sort of. It's a whole situation. We'll talk about that.
It's a thing.
Yeah, and to round things off, Peterose and Shoeless Joe Jackson removed from the MLB banned list. So, the writers finally gave in. We'll talk about that. And then, as always, Shield shoutouts tonight. Volty's got some Shield shoutouts to get to. So with that being said, guys, we got to get to Tater Tot Hot Take tonight. We got to talk about these Wolves and these Twins. So let's get it going with some Tater Tot Hot Take.
Fresh out of the oven, it's Tater Tot Hot Take.
Yes, it is fresh and right out of the oven. Tater Tot Hot Take. We start with those Minnesota Timberwolves. And what's there to be said, folks? But the Minnesota Timberwolves 3-1 lead. They win on last Monday here, 117-110. It was pretty close in the first half. It was 60-58. Ant hit just a three from Jimmer range, I would say, Voldy, to get the Wolves within two. The third quarter was, in fact, dominated by Anthony Edwards, baby. Let's go. So Anthony Edwards comes alive in the second half for the Wolves, in the third quarter into the fourth. And, the Wolves pretty much dominated every facet. Julius Randle has been an absolute monster this series and the previous series. He scored 31 in Game 4, and Ant with 30 as well. Nickeil Alexander-Walker off the bench, 13. Whew, that's what you need. That's what you need. Guys on the bench contributing. So, Voldy, with all this being said and all these games, the Wolves, haven't played their best game yet, I feel like, in this series. Maybe tonight that could change. You break the will of the Golden State Warriors. But again, if you don't want to go back to Golden State, you want to beat Golden State here, call it good. So, if you've played the game Mortal Kombat, finish them! Finish them! Let's go, man. So, Wolves play at 8:30 tonight.
Get over here!
Get over here! Yes, we should have that as a
Flawless
backup.
victory.
Brutality. So Voldy, your thoughts on game 5 game 5 here for the Wolves and Warriors. Do the Wolves get it done here at Target Center tonight? What do you got?
I think they definitely get it done just because they have the advantage of home crowd. A lot of the things that are happening off the court as well. Draymond just getting fined as well, questioning referees' integrity of the game, and just all that kind of really coming to a head. Still no Steph as well. I said last week with Steph being out, if the Wolves get out to a 3-1 lead, definitely would not be surprised in that fashion. Even if it does go to game 6, I highly doubt Steph would be back at that point. But, and we were talking about it too with how it not being, seeing the best out of the Timberwolves as of yet. This could very well be the night that it all comes together too. Kind of saw some bits and pieces of it late in the game, previously in game 4 for sure, with, things kind of getting going there for the Timberwolves. I mean, with Gobert really contributing, definitely hitting from the outside for sure. And just, blocking shots too was definitely a big contention for the Timberwolves as of late, and seeing, the prowess of the Timberwolves really start to come together in the second half of that contest. Definitely, hopefully we'll be able to carry that momentum, having that home court advantage, and definitely finding a way to close things out tonight.
Yeah, totally agree. I think a lot of their success is due to them being able to rely on each other and not turn the ball over as much. They were losing a lot of games, or a lot of games in the regular season and in the playoffs, with turning the ball over, not taking high quality shots. And now you have Ant taking over games. I know the first half hasn't been great for Ant in the series, but he has, come back resurgent, and he has been dealing the basketball. Dante DiVincenzo starting to hit a little bit more shots now. That's what you need from a guy coming off the bench. And Mike Conley, it has been a little bit better. I mean, if he's scoring 11 points for you, that's very good, in terms of him being a little bit older, not being able to, do as much as he used to in his younger years. Now, tonight, I think this, everyone's going to be fired up in the Target Center, and, we'll talk about that here in Callahan School of Logic. But part of me is a little uneasy, but I still think that they understand the importance of winning this game. You win this game, you move on. You worry about probably OKC, maybe Denver. We'll see. But I think if the Wolves want to make a statement and put them to bed for good, this is the time to do it. Not go back to Golden State, give them hope and everything like that. I mean, they know, some of those guys know how to, win these games, and then momentum in each run that they've had. I mean, Draymond, trust me, we've ripped him on this show many times, plenty of times. And Jimmy Butler, the same thing. I will get to that in a second here, but I'm very happy of the way the Wolves have responded to kind of the criticisms that they've had. Gobert, everyone was always ripping Gobert. The guy literally has done nothing, said nothing to anybody, to piss anybody off. Mm-hmm. Is it frustrating sometimes? Yeah, it can be frustrating sometimes with him because he can't catch the damn ball. But I also think too that he can get it done when he needs to, and when he's got the ball in his hands, all he's got to do is go up and put it in the basket. He's very good with alley-oops, and his defense, rim protecting is awesome too. So, Yeah, I agree with you, Voldy. I think tonight's the night they're going to get it done here against the Golden State Warriors. It's very imperative for them to know what they have to do in order to, end the series, move on to the next, which is next week already, which is crazy in itself.
Wow.
I mean, it's that quick of a turnaround. For
so you definitely want to get it done tonight, so that way you can get a little bit of rest for sure.
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what needs to happen. So, let's kind of go individually here, and I just talked about Draymond, and we talked about how sometimes the NBA protects this man, and the indefinite suspension and then bringing him back and, him saying ridiculous stuff, him attacking, players and whatnot. Like, Voldy, my question to you and to the zoners as well, is he going, is this going to be a situation where he's just going to be able to do what he wants? Because he should have gotten a second tech. And I think it was game two, I think. Game two when he was flipping out and bashed our tribal chief, Naz Reid. Acknowledge your tribal chief. And then he's yelling at the refs. If it was Ant or any other person, they'd be thrown out of the game. They would.
Oh, yeah.
So my question to you is this, Voldy. Do you think the NBA is ever going to take a stand on this idiot? Like, come on.
I don't think so. Just based off of where we are now, it would probably take nothing short of blatant on-court murder by Draymond Green for the NBA to actually do anything. Short of Ron Artest Malice in the Palace 2.0 with Draymond Green, there won't be anything. Honestly, I think the league has been in need of, obviously colorful personalities and trying to get a somewhat quote unquote face of the league. Even when he hasn't been in the playoffs, he has been adamant just because of the way things have been with their overall play. It should be quite interesting just based off of, I don't think it's going to be happening anytime soon that the league will take a stance on him.
I just think that they know this series is pretty much in the Wolves' hands. I mean, it's gone. It's gone with Curry going down. The momentum has shifted all the way to the Wolves, and they've played very well, nonetheless. But I think the main thing that they have to remember is that this is what he does, and I think it's interesting to me that they want to keep him in because he gives them content. He gives them everything that they can. He gives them everything that controversy, the absurdness of what he says, and saying that, the thing is he's the most fined NBA player in the league, and that is just is freaky to me how that turns into other things, and they have to deal with certain guys and whatnot. It's crazy to me. It really is. So now let's get you back in here, Voldy. Come on. Oh, okay. All right, bear with us for a second. And get Voldy back on here, but here we go. So anyway, as I was saying, as we try to get Voldy here on, the Wolves have to remind themselves not to give in to the ticky-tack fouls, the pushing, the shoving, and everything like that with Draymond Green, and I think he like put Dante DiVincenzo in a headlock the other day. So it's just nuts to me how this has turned into, Draymond's playground, and he can do whatever he wants. Like if Rudy Gobert last series, guys, was elbowing LeBron in the back of the head, and all of a sudden, like everyone's, the world's gonna collapse and everything like that. How dare Rudy Gobert do that? He's the one that initiated the shove and everything like that. That being LeBron James. I just think it's interesting to me how they want to protect the pocketbooks. They want to keep the viewership. I get that, but guess what? You don't need to control everything, right? If the Wolves are healthy, Warriors aren't, that's on them. Not on us. On them. So, I think it's interesting to me kind of how that has unfolded. The question is how will they respond tonight? They're going to try to throw everything that they can at the Timberwolves. So hopefully things can change for the Wolves tonight, or for the Wolves tonight being able to take on the Golden State Warriors. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be a hard-fought battle. I think the Warriors are going to, obviously they're going to play for their playoff lives, but the Wolves kind of have to be in that mode of desperate, right? So the hope is that the Wolves can get it done. So they got to finish them, man. I mean, it's very, very key that they can do that and get it done. So, yeah, I think that's kind of my thinking on the Wolves and whatnot. So. We're going to try to get Voldy back on here. This is only technical difficulties that we've had in a long time. So bear with us here. We'll get him on in a second. I'll just message him, see where he's at. We'll see what we got here. Yeah, really crazy. Kind of how that got all goofed up, but I think the Celtics and the Knicks are at halftime. So let's send them a fresh link and get them going. So, yeah, Wolves in 5, ladies and gentlemen. Wolves in 5. So, it's, this is very weird. We haven't had anything like this in a long time. And the schedule is out for the Vikings, by the way. Bears on Monday night, like we thought. Falcons they're at home against the Falcons. At home against the Bengals, that'll be a big one for Jefferson. And, hey! Let's see here. Ha! There you are.
Yeah, the wonders of technology as usual.
Yeah, well, we got you now. The phone. This is like the first technical I was telling the zoners here. This is like the first technical difficulties that we've had on the show in a long time. So
shouldn't happen ever, honestly. But you know, it is what it is.
It is what it is. So I just kind of got wrapped up with the Wolves here, as we've said here, Voldy, Wolves in 5. Yes, sir. Let's get it done. We're feeling good about tonight, and that's where we're at. We're going Wolves in 5. So, all right, let's move on to another team that is actually playing really well. The Minnesota Twins, Voldy. They are on a 10-game winning streak, winning a doubleheader today, mind you.
Yeah.
Winning in a doubleheader today. Everyone has been healthy, knock on wood. Everyone has been great in the pitching realm of things as well. Bailey Ober's been good, which is good to see. I'll explain my deal in a second here. But, Voldy, are the Twins back? Would you say the Twins are back? What do you got?
I mean, I definitely look at it from the perspective, I think the Twins are back. Just considering that, like we said, they have been relatively healthy, knock on wood. Byron Buxton's been playing great. Wish could see the averages go up a little bit more as I just stare at a blank screen as myself, as usual, as it usually goes for me. But I like the contributions that we have from the lineup. If you would have told me that Trevor Larnach was going to be a main power threat for the Twins this season, I would have definitely said that you're crazy, because this guy was fighting for a roster spot 2-3 years ago and just trying to make the St. Paul Saints, let alone be a contributing factor for the Twins. They've made some surprising moves too. I mean, picking up Cody Clemens as kind of a, infielder utility guy has been quite nice. Hit that big home run in the 8th inning in that second game today to get that doubleheader sweep has been a nice luxury to have. I definitely look at how the starting pitching got off to a little bit of a rough start, but things have been slowly but surely coming together. Joe Ryan's been very nice to see. Pablo Lopez kind of keeping things a little bit under the radar, but that's been good just to see how he has been able to at least kind of keep things together. I would say nothing earth-shattering, but less is more, I guess, in that area. I definitely like how the bullpen has definitely contributed in a lot of areas. Cole Sands has been a nice middle relief, late inning guy. Of course, Duran, no need to worry about what he's been doing or not. He's just been able to be lights out. And you know what? I definitely like the grittiness of this team thus far. And 10 straight wins definitely is nothing to snuff at, especially taking down a very competitive and a very tough team in Baltimore, not once but twice today. Has been quite nice to see for the Twins here with now 10 straight wins.
The thing that we've always said, and I agree with you in that, is if they're healthy, they are a good baseball team. They can be very good. And I think when you have guys like Buxton, guys like Correa being able to have these hot streaks and contribute, you just get Royce Lewis back, which is, awesome in itself, because now you add another weapon to the arsenal. Now, I think if you're the Twins, kind of looking through kind of how they've been playing, you compare, leagues better than what they were playing in early April, mid-April, maybe even into late April as well. But the thing is like, it's got to be a jumping off point for them in order to make sure that they are not, necessarily figuring out, like, they're not being figured out. They're not, quote unquote, not having anybody injured, being able to, take advantage of the teams that aren't as good. Because the AL Central right now is very close. And the Twins right now are 4th in the AL Central, but it's only separated by a game or two. So now you've kind of caught up. Now you can honestly do what you need to do in order to, keep pace with these teams. But again, the Twins' history does not favor them. And I'm not going to throw, like I said, I'm not going to throw a wet blanket here. I am not going to, but I've seen this before. You know, we've seen this before. The Twins start off terrible, then all of a sudden they get on this hot streak, and then they're like, oh, they're back. See, this is what we were talking about. But then things kind of go bad a little bit. You know, it's very roller coastery and whatnot. Now, I'll believe it when I see it, but if they're able to have a really good May into June, then I think I can admit, hey, they're back and whatnot. My stance has not changed on one Rocco Baldelli. I still believe that he is not the right manager for the Twins. I still believe that. But if they continue winning like this, and as long as he doesn't make any stupid decisions, apparently he's been yelling at umps more, which is having them win games, which is crazy in itself. Not saying that that's the reason why they're winning, but Larnach was absolute on fire today. He hit 2 home runs, 1 each in both games, which is awesome. I mean, if you're getting contributions like that, Ty France has been hitting the ball very well as well. He's at 255, and Buxton 258. That's kind of where you want him to be at. Anything lower than that, not good. But Byron Buxton leads the team with home runs, 9 home runs. So I'm not going to say that they're back yet. If they have a good May, yet. If they have a good May, Voldy, if they have a good June, then maybe I will. Hey, there's the Tater. Yes, sir.
Oh my gosh.
He's like,
what? Since I use my phone for anything like this, so I'm just like, good Lord, trying to get the angles right here. Look horrendous as usual.
Well, you know, the thing is you're doing your best with what you got. I mean, you know, the laptop obviously must have just died or something or whatever happened, but
technology at its finest here, folks.
Exactly. So, with that being said, we're kind of waiting on the Twins. We're just seeing how things go. Pablo Lopez has been playing better. The relief pitching, like you mentioned as well. A lot of things being factored in here with our Minnesota Twins. So, that'll do it for Tater Tot Hot Take this time around. Go Wolves, Wolves in 5. I got my Ant jersey, which I'll be switching into later on here because we are going to cheer on those Wolves. But speaking of the Wolves, for Callahan School of Logic tonight, Voldy and the Zoners, is just kind of how interesting it has been for Minnesota sports fans so far this season, even in general. I was going to talk about this last week. I was kind of add in what we were talking about with the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Wild too. You know, people show up, show out, the whole kit and caboodle. Now, I'm just going to kind of explain how much of a boost this gives people, even in their daily lives. Like you see the T-Wolves win, and you see people out wearing Wolves stuff. I mean, I swear, this past weekend, Voldy, I was out and about. There's people wearing Wolves stuff everywhere. Wearing hats, wearing Ant jerseys, wearing Jaden McDaniels. I mean, there's just so many people that are huge Wolves fan. Not you know, it's still state of hockey, don't get me wrong, and whatnot. But again, you know, Minnesota sports fans showing out. You know, if you win, they're gonna pop up. So let's head to the classroom here. Let's go talk about some our Minnesota sports fans. Let's get your pens, get your pencils, or pad of paper, the whole kit and caboodle. So let's get it going with School of Logic.
Class is in session. You're enrolled in Callahan's School of Logic.
All right, it is time for Callahan School of Logic. Real quick, Voldy, this past weekend, by the way, because I'm looking at this intro and I'm like, SMSU got Voldy. We graduated 9 years ago. That is insane.
Yeah,
I
don't
can't
remind
believe
me on that. Yeah. Yeah. And a guy
can't
we
believe
went
it.
to school with just graduated this past weekend, too.
Yeah, but I thought, no, there's questions to that. I thought he
Right.
already did, but apparently,
Who knows,
shout
man?
out to
I
our
don't
guy,
know.
Austin, man. I love Austin.
Yeah, shout out to Turtle.
Yeah, we give him clap. We give him claps.
Like his third or fourth degree or something like that. Guy just loves
Hey.
school, I guess. I don't
Hey,
know.
he's got it.
Good on him.
He's got a lot of degrees. He'll take it. So, congratulations to him. So, anyway, the lower third kind of speaks for itself, and as we welcome, I think Tate is in the fold here. What up, buddy? Yes, sir. He's ready for Callahan School of Logic, chilling with Dad right there. So let's talk about it for a second. So, over the past few weeks, and I mentioned this, how much of a shift there has been of Minnesota sports fans. The great thing about sports is it brings everyone together, and having two teams that were and are in contention for a championship makes it even better. That's exactly what we want. I couldn't help but notice, like I said in the tease, yeah, yeah, exactly, Tate. That's exactly, yeah, go Wolves. I couldn't help but, notice how many fans were in attendance at these games. And the wild game was packed, rally towels, the whole thing. And the Wolves, even the Wolves too, how loud the Target Center was, how involved in the game they were, especially getting after Jimmy Butler, which was awesome in itself. And Draymond Green, too, added on as well. But I was just curious just to see, and again, they took on teams that were in big markets, right? Vegas, big market, and then the Wolves and Lakers. So I'm just quick going back to Wolves and Lakers here, too, because I took a look at the attendance to some of these games. So let's talk about the Wild here, since they are out of contention, unfortunately. But I took a look at, and this is approximate, and I could be completely off. Whoever, if the zoners were at those games and everything like that, and if you have a number for me, great. I'm just going based off of what I gathered here. So, Game 3, the Wild had 19,058 in attendance, and then Game 4 had 19,324 thousand in that game, and then Game 6 they had 19,047 people at those games. Now, I did a little bit of a comparison with the attendance with Vegas, and I could be again. I'm just throwing this out there, but they had 18,000 Game 1, and then they had 18,311 people there as well, and then 18,000 for Game 5, 18,441,000. So, again, the fans are showing up and showing out. This is something that shows, hey, this isn't a group of people that are just like, oh, woe is me and everything. People show up. You make the playoffs. You give yourself a chance to win a title, things like that. They're going to show up. So let's go to the Wolves here, Voldy. And the Wolves' attendance for 3 and 4, since obviously Lakers had home court advantage, being the higher seed, the Wolves had 19,312 people there, and then Game 4 they had 19,289. So let's take a look at the Lakers. Now, whenever I got my information with this, it was the same number for Game 1, Game 2, and Game 5. It was 18,997. So
Funny.
I think there's probably add or subtract a couple people here and there, right? So
Right.
I'm still looking at the list and the stats that I see from the attendance, and Minnesota fans are beating Vegas fans and Los Angeles Lakers fans. Not calling them, like fair weather fans. Well, there are probably some fair weather fans, but
It's probably fair.
I think that when you look at this, when you think of Minnesota, if you ask anybody in LA or that's lived in LA their whole life, or anyone that's lived in Vegas their whole life, and say, what do you think about Minnesota? Oh, it's cold up there. Okay. Well, anything else? Oh, it's just cold up there and they don't know anything. Their sports team sucks and blah, blah. If you came up here and just experienced, and again, I've never been to California. I don't know what the experience is there. But to say that Minnesota doesn't care about their teams and they only care about certain sports and things like that, no. We're very dedicated. Just extraordinarily dedicated. You look on the Twitter sphere and any social medias, there's going to be fans around. So, this kind of proves that Minnesota fans are dedicated and show up when the teams are in contention.
Mm-hmm.
It is interesting to me, and that goes for not only professional but college. I mean, look at the Gophers. Unfortunately, and I know they've had some really good hockey teams, obviously, and unfortunately so. Phil Kessel, we won't talk about it. But like the Gophers, like in a bowl game, or like the March Madness tournament, things like that. People are going to show up, show out, and I think it's great for the state in general. So the logic in all of this. And again, I'm not talking about heartbreak and how they've lost heartbreakingly. We're not talking about that. What I'm saying is no matter how much heartbreak, Minnesota sports has people show up and show out. It's not only good for business, but it's great for fans and the whole state in general, just to encapsulate that. So, with that being said, I think that all these other teams and organizations and everything like that, like, were the butt of jokes like, oh, if you don't behave, if you're a star player, if you don't behave, we're going to send you to Minnesota to end your career and, this and that. Well, that narrative has changed. You look at Anthony Edwards, and he's embraced the great state of Minnesota. He loves being here. And a lot of these other guys love playing with him and love being here. I know it gets cold sometimes. Yes, we deal with it. I've dealt with it. Voldy's dealt with it for 31 years. I mean, this is where we live, and don't call Minnesota fans. I mean, we are dedicated. Maybe some other teams aren't. I mean, LA, there's a lot of people. They have a bunch of sports teams, but do anyone really show up for Chargers or Rams games? Not really, until they make it to the Super Bowl, obviously. But the logic in all this is you get people coming together and appreciating what their teams have accomplished. And I think Minnesota has a fantastic fan base. So, that being said, Voldy and or Tate, what are your thoughts here? I mean, would you agree with the fan base and kind of, proving like, hey, we show up, we should support, show out. What do you got?
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth noting just because when the teams are good, the people are going to show up, and that's definitely something to not, shy away from. I mean, especially with the way the Wild were able to get into the playoffs this year after a couple of down years, and now the Timberwolves back-to-back seasons with really nice playoff runs and on the brink of another Western Conference Finals appearance. I mean, people are coming out. There's a lot more excitement when it comes to it. Hopefully the Twins can reciprocate and continue on. You would like to see that. The Vikings this past year, too, also a very nice season in the regular season and coming up on the short end of a playoff run on top of that. But I mean, there's definitely a lot to be passionate about and definitely a lot to enjoy based off of that, just because the way that, the way the teams have been able to, put out such great performances and be able to compete at the level that they definitely need to be. And I certainly hope that, things continue on in the right direction, because people are going to continue to come out and enjoy them one way or another.
Yeah, and I think this is, this kind of shows like how much dedication there is, from the fans and whatnot. And like you said with the Vikings, I mean, the schedule release, I bet you any money, everyone, like even myself, don't get me wrong, I was waiting on that schedule release just to see who the heck we're playing and everything like that. And, the leaks kind of, I don't know, the leaks kind of ruin it for me a little bit too. But I don't know.
Right.
I think this upcoming season will be exciting. And again, you have what you think is a franchise quarterback. And I think with McCarthy coming in and the acquisitions you made in the offseason, I think are a proponent of them being successful. And I hope that that is the case for our Minnesota Vikings. So, but like you said, the Twins, like, are things going to be changed up when the P.O.D sell? I mean, is there going to be other stuff happening here? What's going on? So, anyway, I just want to talk about that. I mean, shout out, and again, I'm going to give claps to all the zoners, to all the Minnesota fans that have gone and just, cheered on their teams. Even though the Wild lost, I mean, people still went. And it's not like they weren't competitive. They were in every game. Maybe not game one, but the rest of the series, they definitely were, and whatnot. So a lot of good things could be happening here on the horizon. You never know. Optimism. Have it, please. So that'll do it for Callahan School of Logic. ARA tonight, like we said, the schedule has been released. I can confirm for sure the Vikings have the schedule released, and just earlier, the Vikings will be playing in Dublin and London here, and Voldy and I will talk about that here in a second. And after that, the Mavs win the draft lottery with only 1.8% odds. Ugh, there's some controversy happening, and the NCAA to former Commission for NIL Help. So, man, they need some help, apparently. I don't know why. Oh, well, I probably know why. But, and then, Bill Belichick. A lot of issues happening between the girlfriend and everything like that. We'll talk about that. And then the big news, I think was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday, Peterose and Joe Jackson are off the MLB banned list. So I'll talk about that to round things off. So let's get it going. What's up? Observed or approved?
It's time for everyone's favorite segment, Absurd or Approved.
All right, it is time for Absurd or Approved. So, Voldy, looks like we got... Oh.
See if we can get this thing to work here.
Yeah, let's see here. Let me throw... Hey! There's two of you! What's going on?
Get out of here.
Hey, welcome back. We've got Voldy back on. Perfect. So, if you got the ARA, you all set?
Yeah, I've got it on my phone here.
Okay.
My computer screen. At least looking at you. I can't even look at you right now because my screen is frozen. But we can at least do ARA. So
let's do it.
Here we go. Starting off here, of course, the NFL did release the schedules as we have been going into tonight, starting off, of course, of which is a few international dates have been set to start off the season, including which the Minnesota Vikings will be playing not one but two international contests this season, starting off with the first ever NFL game to take place in Ireland. Yes, the Vikings will be taking on, I believe that is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers in Dublin, Ireland, to open up that international series in Ireland for the 2025 season. That will be coming up towards the back end of September. But then, hold the phone, back-to-back games overseas. The Vikings will be playing the following contest the next week. That will be in London, as they will be taking on the Cleveland Browns, as the two have squared off previously in London before. They'll be playing at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on October 5th. The Ireland game will be taking place September 28th against Pittsburgh. So back-to-back games for the Minnesota Vikings that will be in international waters, one of which will count against them as a home game. But on top of that as well, before the schedule release, the Vikings will also be playing on Christmas Day afternoon, to believe it or not. They will be playing against the Detroit Lions. That'll be a 3:30 p.m. kickoff, which will be featured on Netflix, of course, with the international games plus the Christmas Day contest. And also, I believe they will have the, yes, this is confirmed, they will have the first Monday night contest coming up. That will be, I believe, September 8th will be that first Monday night contest against the Chicago Bears. So with all that being said, we're going to focus on the three big ones, that being the international games plus the Christmas Day contest. Is it absurd or approved? Will the Vikings win both games overseas plus that Christmas Day contest?
Well, they are undefeated overseas. I mean, it's been proven, and they've taken advantage of big situations. They played both teams in previous outings in London, and they've beaten both of those teams. It could factor in, but the one game, I think they're going to win both games. Now, the one thing that I'm kind of maybe uneasy about is the game against the Steelers, is because they have a pretty good defense. But who the hell's going to be their quarterback, right?
Bingo.
I mean, it doesn't sound like. I mean, unless they're still on that handshake agreement with Aaron Rodgers, which I don't even know where the hell that is right now.
Literally doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. I think the Vikings are going to win in general. But, that was the only question mark that I've had with that. So the Christmas Day game, though, a little bit tougher, I would obviously say. But with it being at home, I think that's very beneficial for the Vikings. And it's two straight division games. So it's got, the Lions, and then you got the hated Green Bay Packers to end the season. Here's the thing, Voldy, is like this game's on week 17 against Detroit, and I don't love it. I don't love it, but I think I'm going to go with the Vikings. I think they'll win this game against the Lions. And people, there's been some rumblings that the window has closed for the Lions. Now, whether you believe that or not, I mean, that remains to be seen, but I still think they're very good. They play at Detroit in the middle of the season. I believe it's week 9 is what I'm looking at here. So, yeah, I got the Vikings winning both of those international games, because the Browns, I mean, they're just – I mean, it's a mess over there. And I think offensively and defensively – well, I mean, besides Myles Garrett, but I think the Vikings will win those games, and I think they're gonna beat Detroit in Week 17. So on Christmas, so get your Viking stuff ready for that on Christmas. So, Voldy, what do you got?
Let's take a look at these matchups that we have seen when it comes to international play. Of course, Pittsburgh versus Minnesota. The last time they played overseas was the very first start for Matt Castle as quarterback for the Minnesota Vikings, which turned out to be a win for the Vikings overseas. I know exactly where I was when I watched that game. I was in the Sweetland, I think second or third floor kitchen area watching that game. Don't know why we were in the kitchen. I believe somebody might have been doing laundry at some point, but it was definitely worth watching that contest as a whole. And of course, when the Vikings played the Browns over in London a handful of years ago, was one of the first, if not maybe second start in the Vikings career of Case Keenum, believe it or not. So definitely worth noting a couple of interesting matchups there. I like the matchup overall. It'll be very interesting to see, of course, Vikings offense versus Pittsburgh defense early on in the season, how both those teams are going to be shaping up. And then, of course, you do throw in the Browns, who could be good, could be terrible, who's going to be their starting quarterback. Who knows? Is Shedeur Sanders going to get into the mix? Who knows at that point? International play, it's going to be rough to say the least. Then you throw in the Christmas Day game on top of it all. That's going to be a very good matchup, I feel like. That matchup could very well decide the division, if not the Week 18 matchup between the Vikings and the Packers at that point. And the people saying the window closing on Detroit, just because it's been 2 years of success, maybe going on to a third as well. Of course, new offensive and defensive coordinators. They've got the same mojo. They've got pretty much a good chunk of the same team. Just so happens to be, a couple of changes here and there. As long as Dan Campbell's still head coach, they've still got a good shot. And then I'm also looking at the Vikings schedule. Preseason game number 2, August 16th. New England comes to town. May have to circle that on my calendar and maybe head my way on down to U.S. Bank Stadium. Never have been to U.S. Bank Stadium as of yet, so may have to make that trip on down. But I definitely see a couple of international wins, especially back-to-back. I wonder if the Vikings would stay the entire week from the game in Dublin and then stay, head to London at that point just to stay acclimated with everything going on there. That would be my guess. That would make sense. But then again, not a lot of things make sense in this world. So I see a couple international wins for sure.
What about the Detroit game? Are you still?
I'm going to go a win on that one too. Christmas Day, I see a win on that one as well.
Perfect. Since I have the schedule up here in Voldy, this is kind of like a theme on our show, I feel like. Week 13. Guess who the Vikings play Week 13?
At Seattle.
At Seattle again, because they just like, let's put the Vikings in Seattle.
It's either we play them, some weird Monday night, middle of the season Monday night game, or we play them like the last preseason game, and Marcus Sherrills takes a interception back for a touchdown to win the game. I don't know. I don't know. There is no in between. There's no.
Or Troy Stoudemire takes it to the house. I mean, there's that too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's always at Seattle. Just this.
Always
Vikings. Let's go throw them to Seattle again.
Where Vikings go to die, Seattle.
Yeah. Sammy D versus J.J. McCarthy, and that'll be that's a good matchup. The Vikings have the Eagles at home, which kind of helps, but
little.
Yeah, there's a lot of question marks as opposed, what they have, because they got the Bengals Week 3, which is going to be a tough battle in itself. They take on the AFC North 3 straight games. Mm-hmm. That's insane. Oh my gosh, we could go for hours on this, but it's a tough schedule. I think it'll be tough, but you know what? Pressure makes diamonds. Pressure makes diamonds.
It does.
All right, next one, Voldy.
Well, we head to the world of the NBA, where this past Monday it was announced the NBA draft lottery took place, and it was looking quite promising for the worst team in the league to have the best chance of taking home the number 1 pick selection, and which very could end up being Duke's Cooper Flagg with the number 1 pick coming up here in the month of June. But wait, hold the phone. A team that traded away a franchise player and had the worst odds, 1.8% chance to win the draft lottery, jumped up 10 spots to make history by making the best jump to win the number 1 overall selection, that being the Dallas Mavericks. Of course, you would have thought that the Mavericks were in free fall after the Luka Doncic trade that sent him to Los Angeles, and of course the subsequent injuries and everything that just did not go their way in the back half of the season. Everybody calling for the head of general manager Nico Harrison. Well, now there's a little bit of life in Dallas once again, as they will have the number 1 overall selection coming up here in June, which does look like the 6'9" forward Cooper Flagg will be looking to be the top overall selection and could make him a star at the professional level. But of course, with everything that goes right, there must be something wrong in this situation. And it's a pretty blatant question that we've seen in the past. Is it absurd or approved? Are sports rigged, with Dallas winning the draft lottery with just 1.8% odds of bringing home the top pick?
We did get a comment in here on the message board, and Amish Entertainment retracted whatever they put on, which is fine. I mean, I wanted to see what they had to say. Maybe it was when we were having our technical, but
who knows?
But who knows? Anyway, there's been a lot of people that are very upset with this and not happy that they got this. And I mean, is it rigged? All I'm gonna say, it's a little fishy. It's a little fishy to me, because again, this team was on the cusp of possibly making the playoffs. Still, with the injuries and things that they had, they got AD from the Lakers with the Luka trade and everything like that. And then you don't get as many ping pong balls as as we know, and somehow, some way, they end up winning that. It seems to me there's something fishy going on. I don't know if those ping pong balls have magnets in them where it's supposed to, they're let's make sure that we put it in for the Mavericks and whatnot. Is there some under the table deal or something like that? Which which you question, but I want to say that sometimes, and again, it's all about probability and things like that, and sometimes crazy things happen. But man, it just seems very convenient that they end up getting Cooper Flagg, obviously, that they'll probably take, which is actually a good way to kind of revamp the franchise a little bit, since Luka's not your guy anymore and whatnot, so they got to find a new one. So it's a little bit shocking. Obviously, I think was it who was the worst team? Was it Portland or something like that? Anyway,
Utah.
Okay, yeah, Utah. They get a ton of ping pong balls. How did they not get it? So I don't know. It's very fishy to me. That's all I really got to say about it. I mean, there's really not much I can add to it. They had the 4th lowest odds by a team to win the number 1 pick since the lottery in 1985. Very interesting. And there were a lot of national sports. Have you seen some reactions on national sports media, by the way? I mean, they were ecstatic, and I'm like, that's odd. Very odd. Right. There might be something to this. Just saying. So that's kind of what I think. I think it could be rigged. I think it's got my standard rule. It very well could be rigged. So, Voldy, what do you think?
I mean, it definitely does not help the cause of professional sports when a team that was in the play-in had a chance at getting the number 1 overall pick. Yes, I know mathematically it worked out that way. If you were a team that was, on the back end of the play-in and obviously not the best record in the league, you had a chance to get the number 1 overall pick. But, I mean, honestly, it really should come down to the style that the NFL has. Team that mathematically has the worst record should get the number 1 overall pick, and everything from that point should just go that way. But everybody's also saying, well, maybe the NFL should do the draft lottery as working that way. Well, then we could possibly see the Philadelphia Eagles get the number 1 overall pick after winning the Super Bowl. But that would be the craziest thing of all time. I think it should go the way that the NFL has it. Mathematically, the worst team should get the number 1 overall pick, and descending order from that fashion. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. That way, the defending champion picks last or second to last, and everybody else that stunk beforehand is getting the best odds of doing it. I don't understand why the draft lottery still kind of exists. The NHL still does draft lottery on top of it. I mean, the New York Islanders ended up with the number 1 overall pick in their draft lottery, even given the fact that they had a little bit better odds of getting it, but not as terrible or as good of odds as San Jose had at getting the number 1 overall pick. But I mean, are sports rigged? There's a lot of things that go into it, but something like this, I don't want to say it's easy to rig a draft lottery, but I can definitely see how it could be rigged, just based off of what we've seen in the past, especially with, you look back, I think it was the 85 NBA draft lottery with Patrick Ewing and the supposed frozen envelope or dented envelope that went him to go to New York. And obviously you want to put a star player in a star situation. Cooper Flag in Dallas sounds a lot better than Cooper Flag in Utah, just based off of market value and obviously the size of the market. Dallas definitely a lot better than Utah, even though their ownership is definitely very active when it comes to trying to do for the best for their franchise. But I'm definitely going to say that this draft lottery, something fishy about it. Am I going to say it's rigged? For the siding on the air of caution and possibly being taken out once again by the Illuminati, I'm going to say, no, it's not rigged. Not rigged. Wink, wink, intent.
Wink, wink, intent. Real quick, since NBA playoffs, the Knicks and the Celtics are playing right now. The Celtics, they got a 91-76 lead, Voldy. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can pull it off here.
Only a 15-point lead. They've blown 2 20-point leads.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
It ain't over till it's over. Bodega Cat, watch out.
Bodega Cat, baby. And Brunson, man, he's been good too. So
good for him. Good.
Yeah,
for him.
we'll keep an eye out and see if anything else happens with that. So, all right, next one, Voldy.
Well, we head to the world of college athletics, and the NCAA could very well form a commission when it comes to helping those get understand of student athletes, whether they should become considered employees, and also the growing concerns of collective bargaining agreements, NIL, and everything. So much so that has reached the top of the top. That's including President Donald Trump saying that he was going to be looking at supposed reports that President Trump was looking at creating the Commission for College Athletics to kind of get everything settled into getting everything put together, basically. The Wild West that is college athletics nowadays, transfer portals, NIL, athletes getting paid, how collective bargaining and getting paid by schools. Everything that was a pipe dream 4 or 5 years ago now has just become a complete free-for-all with hardly any rules, or if there are rules, they aren't grossly enforced and just left up to vast areas of interpretation when it comes to it. But of course, NCAA President Charlie Baker said that he was said earlier this week that he was, quote, up for anything when asked about a proposed commission for college athletics. Of course, one of the big things that we have seen, especially being considering a possible commission in college football, because college football definitely a big driver when it comes to NIL and obviously the transfer portal and just various rules that continue to just be more and more hectic as the year comes along and in more recent years. But when you look at everything, considering how things have changed in the last handful of years, is it absurd or approved? Will a commission be beneficial for college athletics and hopefully settling everything down?
It's a great question. going back quickly to the draft stuff. By the way, we
Mm-hmm.
found out who Amish Entertainment is Nick Dahlhoff. He said, sorry, that was on me. An old account I made in elementary school.
Dang.
I'm just impressed. I'm kind of impressed that you were able to get it in with that account if you've made it in elementary school. He says it's approved because whether or not it was rigged, the city of Dallas needs a W after the NFL season.
But Dallas also got the number 1 pick in the WNBA draft too with Paige
They
Beckers.
did.
So
Yeah.
both franchises getting the number 1 overall pick. I smell collusion.
See, it's all connected, man. It's all connected. Very interesting. And Anthony Barron's tuning in. Thanks for tuning in. Shaq's draft was crooked too. Yeah, it's who knows? Was the Wolves the whole what's his name, Johnny Flynn and Steph Curry thing? Was that rigged? No, that was just dumb decision by the Wolves.
Yep.
But anyway, but yeah, no, I agree with both of them. I totally do. All right, back to the NCAA thing. Now, they just really like to put themselves in a pickle, don't they? They don't really think before they take action, and if Trump wants to go and do this and put a commission and everything, and it seems like the what's his name, Baker, or whoever the guy is, the head guy, Charlie Baker, that he was up for anything. It sounds like he's game for it. It just shows how bad they, put this thing out and how guys are getting away with, everything and getting all this money, and now they don't know what to do with it. They have no idea, how to approach it and everything like that. Just shows how inept the NCAA is when it comes to these things and other things as well. Trust me. They're working on it, they say, and they haven't decided on a framework, is what he was saying. And he's like, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know. I do think though. It's just like, I mean, can't you get somebody who's an expert on this to figure this out so you guys aren't looking like total idiots? Like it's crazy to me with the NCAA. So I'll give it my stamp of approval, and the reason why I give it my stamp of approval is literally if there's no other option. And if there's someone that knows what they're doing, I think they need to contact that person or anything like that. But it sounds like this whole commission thing, and I'm not even super confident in it, nonetheless. But it's got my stamp of approval. They got to do something, and it's been very clear that they've dropped the ball many times when it comes to this whole NIL thing. So. Stamp of approval. Voley, what do you got?
Yeah, definitely some sort of commission needs to be set up. I mean, if not individually for sports themselves, definitely as a collective whole. Just seeing what NIL and, pay for play and everything that's gone into it the last handful of years has just been crazy, to say the least. There are rules, but not really overly enforced, like I've said, and just there's too much interpretation in this. Whatever rules have been set out don't cover the full scope, then things have to be redacted. Now past athletes are trying to get their money back, trying to get some of the money that they would have made in college based off their name, image, and likeness, and now trying to make up for all of that into it. There needs to be some sort of set group, or at least commission, to rule over everything. And I think the biggest thing too is the transfer portal, just how crazy that is and why there are so many windows for transfers and coming back and forth, and how guys can transfer schools from winter into spring without even having to take at least in the college football sense, can transfer from program to program without even taking a snap during the fall. that is just wild in my mind. And I mean, if President Trump wants to get involved too, great. But I feel like the NCAA, they dug this hole. Now they need to dig themselves out of it. And something needs to get figured out and figured out fast, because it's only going to get crazier from here on out.
To be continued with the NCAA. And you never know what they're going to come up with. So going from there. All right, Voldy. Next one, please.
Well, the tenure of UNC head football coach Bill Belichick in Chapel Hill hasn't exactly gotten off to the greatest start, thus including his 24-year-old girlfriend, Jordan Hudson, I should say, as Coach Belichick and his confidant, if you will, have got a lot of notoriety for actions basically off the field, with including a little bit of back and forth that took place in a interview with CBS a handful of weeks ago, and just relating to their dynamic, how they met, and what they're currently as well. Now, in recent reports did come out in quoting as saying that the university had actually banned Jordan Hudson from the football facilities at UNC, as she has been on the field and at least around Coach Belichick as practices for the spring have been going on. But it was later released there as while Jordan Hudson is not an employee at the University of or Carolina Athletics, she is welcome to the Carolina football facilities, as it looks like Jordan will continue to manage all activities related to Coach Belichick's personal brand outside of responsibilities for Carolina football and the university. So kind of a publicist slash manager, if you will, something that Belichick has had in the past. Just so happens that this time around happens to be a 24-year-old female, as opposed to a 30 or 40-year-old male that he had while working with the New England Patriots as kind of a personal assistant, executive assistant to the head coach. He's had a couple of those guys in the past. Those guys are now working with different coaches. I believe one gentleman that worked with the Patriots is actually helping Bill O'Brien at Boston College. But with all that being said, and just the kind of unique nature to their relationship, of course, with Hudson and Belichick, is it absurd or approved? Should Jordan Hudson be banned from UNC football facilities?
Man, I was trying to put together the words when I saw that CBS interview, and just kind of how that, and not only that, but some of these, how the other things have gone with Coach Belichick. Mm-hmm. There was one person, and I think this person's very honest and maybe sometimes a little too blunt. But, at the same time, he tells it like it is. And that is Charles Barkley. He says he's fearing for his friend, like his wellness and, how things are going here. How many people knew who this woman was until she started, dating Belichick? No one knew. Zero. Not a whole lot. But with that interview that happened, and to stop it after the questions that were presented to Bill were, already approved and everything like that, and, these reporters with CBS, it's not like they're trying to, sidetrack anything. You elected to talk about this, and now all of a sudden you don't want to? So I don't understand what this Jordan Hudson is getting across here. I don't know what she's trying to do, but let's not forget, this is a Hall of Fame, first ballot Hall of Fame head coach in the NFL. A hard ass, nonetheless, and a guy that is going to tell you it like it is. How does he go from that to, I'm doing everything that she says? I'm doing, what I'm supposed to do. this and that. I'm taking Instagram, or as he would like to call it, Instaface stuff. My face, or whatever he calls it. And he's doing all this weird stuff. Is she very good looking? Yes, I would say so. But I as I've seen these actions and how this has gone about it, I gotta say it, because this is just crazy to me. This woman, cray. I think this chick is nuts. Is absolutely nuts. And for her to be so young and having Belichick do, having him do all this stuff, and pretty much he said screw the NFL because no one would hire him, and goes to UNC, and then is in a relationship with this 24-year-old who just pops up out of nowhere and is telling him what to do and stuff. It's like, what is going on here?
Right.
This is absolutely crazy in the sense. Like, I don't know what's going on with Bill Belichick, if it's like a midlife crisis or something. I don't know.
Who knows?
But to answer your question, I give him my stamp of approval. I think she needs to stay the hell away from UNC, and I think she is like a leech sucking off the blood of Bill Belichick and his success and everything like that. And you got to get this chick out of here. She is nutso. I think she's absolutely nutso. And I don't care who's it, but I don't care who, if you're like, how dare you say that? Look at that CBS interview and tell me that she's not nuts. Mm-hmm. Come on. So, Foldy, what do you think?
Well, I should have been a little bit more concerned the fact that with Belichick being head coach at North Carolina, he still wears a Navy sweatshirt when doing the CBS morning interview, which I thought, that's you would think you want to promote the fact that you're head coach at North Carolina, as opposed to, of course, his dad, who was a longtime assistant at Navy, grew up in Annapolis, all that stuff too. And then also deadpan off camera, your 24-year-old girlfriend is also wearing a Navy sweatshirt. Probably just trying to be all cutesy, matchy, even though Belichick's sweatshirt looked like it had been lost a battle with a rabid Wolverine, and hers was pressedly fine on top of it. I understand the standpoint of managing his affairs off the field, but like the only reason why she's around is because Belichick is probably there 18 hours a day. And that's the only reason why she's around the facility more than she probably should be. It's because Belichick is there. And you look at this, you say compared to Belichick now compared to probably, say, a year and a half ago, two completely different people, just based off of Belichick being completely, completely the polar opposite of what he was in New England. He's talking the media. He was part of the media, very open about certain things, talking about, some things going on behind the scenes. But tell me, what does a 70-plus-year-old head football coach, college football coach, and a 24-year-old marketer basically have in common, other than they both need something from each other? I don't know what the dynamic is, I would assume that they live together, or what that does off the field, but I don't see the need for her to be around, because right now it's a distraction. And with it being spring, new program, at least trying to get things implemented for said program, not exactly instilling a lot of confidence in Belichick, and of course the Carolina football program that does need all the help it can get at this point. Should be quite interesting to see. Does she deserve to get banned? I think it's a little bit harsh, but what else needs to happen other than banishment? I think it's definitely it's got my stamp of approval. Something needs to happen for the sake of Belichick focusing on ball, as opposed to everything going on with his girlfriend and her being around the facility much more than she needs to be.
I think one of the questions, and correct me if I'm wrong, that he was asked was, hey, like the reporter's like, hey, what caused you to, go on social media, everything, and like the photo of him like on the beach holding her up by his feet or something like that, which was weird in itself. And he's like, oh, what kind of went in? Oh, we're not talking about that.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Very odd.
That is so odd. Like, it's just, he's asking a question, and it's not even that bad of a question. Yeah, what were you doing? Like, we're not answering that.
Look, this has got to be some sort of arrangement where, like, hey, from her perspective, hey, I'll help boost you to make you look like a human, and you do everything in your power to make sure that I can get to the next level. Or she's just, riding the gravy train until she finds her her next ride somewhere else. That's probably the arrangement that they're at currently.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, I just think this chick's nuts. I'm just gonna call it for what it is. This chick's nuts. So, stamp of approval. I think it's the right thing to do. And you've seen, it's kind of like, and again, I'm not trying to call out anybody. It's kind of like those, like a helicopter parent for like football or any other sport or anything like that, that continues to go to practices, goes to every game, goes to, and just is close to the team and trying to tell the coaches what to do. She's kind of being that like that. She's kind of that, in my opinion. And I don't know what's going on with him. And hopefully there can be some kind of deal. I mean, if he's not in the right headspace, then someone's got to help him out. So we'll see.
Oh, big time.
Nuts. It is nuts. All right, last one, Voldy.
We head to the world of Major League Baseball in a sweeping historic decision. Major League Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred removed Pete Rose and Shoeless Joe Jackson and other deceased players from Major League Baseball's permanently ineligible list, which could open the ways for them to be claimed into induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Now, of course, with Shoeless Joe Jackson and Pete Rose, which have been noted as off the list for gambling on Major League Baseball, now this has opened the door, at least making them eligible. Said opportunity should come arise. As quoted as saying that with the untimely passing of Pete Rose earlier this year and everything that has taken place as of late, now will definitely be an opportunity for both to possibly make their ways into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Of course, a couple other players that a total of 16 deceased players and one deceased owner from the ban list were removed, including, of course, teammates from Shoeless Joe Jackson, the 1919 Chicago White Sox that won the World Series, and I should say through the World Series in favor of losing. That did include third baseman George Buck Weaver and ace pitcher Eddie Cicotte. On top of it, now with Pete Rose also into the mix of being eligible to quite possibly reach Baseball's Hall of Fame. Now it will be thrown into the mix there with said players being removed from the ineligible list, and of course those that were also added on to being removed from there. Is it absurd or approved with Shoeless Joe Jackson and baseball's all-time hits king in Pete Rose? Will both members be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame within the next 3 years?
Well, like I told you before the show, I think it's a step in the right direction for some of these guys. There's going to be, and we've talked about it on the show regarding Pete Rose in general, that a lifetime ban of something, and especially unless you're, Donald Sterling or something like that, and do stupid stuff and say things and, say racist, things and whatnot, and, sexually abuse, the list goes on. It's
right.
Nuts. But for this to be, for him betting on games and everything like that, and I know people say, and again, I don't know this for a fact or anything, but people say that he bet on his own team, and if it's if it was proven and everything, but he's the all-time hits king, and I think he's very deserving. Now they did it way too late, and completely shut him out. And then Manfred was very against it. Now all of a sudden he's doing, oh, he died, okay, and then we can do it. It's silly. But Shoeless Joe Jackson, I don't know much about that situation, because it seems like, and apparently the commissioner rigged that game or something like that, and I don't know if he was a part of it or
so
whatnot.
The story is with the 1919 Chicago White Sox is that a gentleman who was a notorious gambler in the Chicago area approached members of the Chicago White Sox saying, hey, if you purposefully lose the World Series, I will give you set amount of money. I think it was $5,000 or something like that, which is oodles and doodles of what they were making back in the day as well. Just because they could do it, basically. That was the reasoning behind it. But of those that were guilty of accepting the money, Shoeless Joe Jackson finished the World Series as he took the $5,000 in the money, but also batted .375 and didn't make a single error while hitting the World Series' only home run. But it wasn't fully proven that he purposely played below his standards, while everybody else basically said, yeah, I took the money and I could have probably done better. They purposefully lost the World Series in 1919, even though they were by far the best team in that matchup. And of course, those, if you've seen the movie, or definitely add to your list of things to do here in the near future, 8 Men Out is a great one. John Cusack plays Joe Jackson in that movie, and definitely worth looking at. And of course, Shoeless Joe Jackson, portrayed by Ray Liotta in Field of Dreams on top of it there too. So you can throw that on your list of watching here in the near future. I might go watch Field of Dreams here in the next few days, actually, just based off of the whole conversation. So that's the story behind the 1919 World Series, and Joe Jackson, who finished his career fourth highest career batting average, .356, which still holds to this day, believe it or not, as a career batting average too.
About that whole thing, I did not know that, and that's definitely on my list. I'll have to check that out. But to answer your question for ARA here, I'll quick say, stamp of approval. I think Shoeless Joe Jackson will probably get in, and I think Pete Rose will get in as well. And look, we all make mistakes, right? We all make mistakes, and I now I'm thinking, Voldy, and now that I just think of this, I mean, sports is rigged, and it probably started in 1919 when people tried to, say, hey, if you throw this game, I'll give you X amount of dollars, and then all of a sudden, the whole rigging got crazy. No, I don't know. I'm just being weird. Nick Dahlhoff says it should be pointed out that the White Sox general manager was way underpaying the players even for that time, which motivated the players to take the shady deal.
Weird. The White Sox management not paying players and just hoping for the best? Crazy.
There's owners in Minnesota called the Pohlads. There might be a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know for a fact, but just because of the hatred towards the Pohlads. So, Voldy, what do you think?
I think a lot of this also stems from the fact that now sports gambling is as prevalent as turning on a light switch in your household. Just the great rise that there has been in gambling on sports, and especially on baseball as of late, has really softened the blow on people's mindsets when it comes to betting. I mean, Pete Rose saying that he never bet on his own team. He did bet on baseball. There was arguments back and forth whether he did it willingly, or I should say that he willingly confessed to it. has been all the way up until the day he died. And then, of course, with the 1919 Chicago Black Sox scandal, that's pretty as cut and dry as it is at that point, even with Joe Jackson, never making an error, hit the only home run, still hit 375. Everybody else admitted to it with taking the money and playing below their standards. Definitely leaves a bit of a mark there. But look, I think this is all kind of I don't want to say it's really pandering to the crowd, but I definitely see how with gambling and sports now are pretty much hand in hand, how people definitely have a different mindset when it comes to Pete Rose. And now with the Joe Jackson definitely being on that same level, maybe a little bit less, of course, well beyond their years. And of course, sadly passed away Pete Rose. I could definitely see them get inducted, but it's probably going to be, along the same lines as Curt Schilling. He's not going to win the popularity contest. Burned a lot of bridges in the back half of his career, post-career as well. Definitely a lot of things to make amends, and unfortunately won't be able to do it himself. There's going to be a lot of lobbying and a lot of, kissing up for sure to make things right in that area. But I could definitely see them get inducted for sure in the next few years. It's got my stamp of approval.
Did you end up watching that Netflix special with the Red Sox in 04? Or
I did, yes.
Very good. Really enjoyed that, by the way. And a quick update.
No Curt Schilling in that one, believe it or not. Yeah.
Wasn't he? Oh, I thought he was. Oh, anyway.
Maybe he was. I just figured he got canceled again for saying something stupid.
Yeah.
That pretty much goes hand in hand at this point.
Right. Well, quick update. The Celtics are running away with this one.
Shockingly.
They're kicking ass, man. I mean, they're up 110-85 right now, which is insane. So Celtics, I think, are going to be extending this series. So, hey, good for them. All right. Great job with ARA, Voldy. I know you had to mess with technical difficulties, hold on to Tater and whatnot, and you got her done. So well done, sir. Shield shoutouts. We've got a good set of Shield shoutouts tonight. So I say we get it going with some Shield shoutouts.
Shield shoutouts.
All right, Shield, who you shouting out tonight?
Well, sadly, here we start off Shield shoutouts with a loss in the world of professional wrestling. For those that do know of the world of pro wrestling, especially those that were fans of the original product of ECW, Extreme Championship Wrestling, knew of the name of Sabu, the homicidal, genocidal, suicidal, death-defying maniac, that being Sabu. Me, fortunately enough, having the chance to see him wrestle live in person, July 11, 2006 at the Target Center with a live show of ECW, that being the same night that Ric Flair took on the Big Show for the ECW Championship in a Extreme Rules match as well. Had the pleasure of watching Sabu wrestle in his prime and if not informative years, and sadly passed away at the age of 60 as of Sunday. So rest in peace to the legend of Sabu, and thoughts and prayers to his family at this time. And well, we do wish the best of luck in retirement to quarterback Derek Carr, as he announced his career finishing, unfortunately, due to a nagging shoulder injury, most recently with the New Orleans Saints, making his bones in the league with the Oakland Raiders and a little bit with Las Vegas on top of it. Well, unfortunately for Derek Carr, he retires as one of the only players to lose to all NFL football franchises while throwing for 40,000 yards and have 0 career playoff victories, as Derek Carr's career comes to an unfortunate end. I was always a big Derek Carr guy. I always thought he got the raw end of the deal, and people always hated on him for no reason, but I always thought he was a good player from the very get-go, and I thought he definitely got put into a rough situation. There were some times where Oakland and, of course, the Vegas Raiders had some chances, but never got to the true consistency from the whole team. That's going to do it for Shield Shoutouts this week.
Yes, well done with Shield Shoutouts this week, Voldy. Derekcarr, there was that report that he might not even play the season. It sounds like it's a lot worse than we think. So he is retiring. We wish the best retirement for him. And yes, Sabu, that dude would jump from anywhere and go through tables.
He literally
chairs.
had his He literally had his retirement match a couple months ago or whatever, and still was going through barbed wire ring posts and tables and setting himself on fire. Even at the age of 60, he was still doing that.
Oh my God!
Dude was
one of a kind.
He was insane. One of a kind for sure. That's the way we'll put it for sure.
Yeah. No, for sure. Rest in peace, and thoughts and prayers to the family, all that. So, great job with Shield Shoutouts, as always, Voldy. The magic number tonight, ladies and gentlemen, is, what is it? I think it starts with 5. Not only Ant, but Wolves in 5. Golden State, Alcorn State, Northwestern State, it don't matter. Wolves in 5.
Draymond Green, Al Green, grass is green. Wolves in 5.
Wolves in 5. Munson says, sorry I'm late. You guys have Wolves tonight? Yes, we did. And you missed it. So that's on you. Boo on you. You know, Munson just he shows up when he wants to, and whatever.
Shows up when he wants.
But
that's fine.
But I'm sure he's got the same. Wolves in 5. Ant-Man.
Wolves in 5.
Gonna get it done, and we're maybe on to OKC, maybe Denver. We'll see. But hey, let's just get this dub. Don't pull a Knicks like what they're doing right now, because they're about to lose. They're still making it a series even without Tatum, so we'll see. I feed off the hate. It's all right. All right, whatever, man. Whatever. Rubio still sucks, so. Oh, boom. Bang, bang. I'm just kidding. Anyway, guys, we've got the merch. We've got a lot of merch. Sweatpants, shirts, stickers, hats, you name it. Just talk to one of us. We can get you set up. Legend Killer finds and adds 2 more heads to his collection. That's right. That's right. I've got something for you too on the socials, Voldy. So be on the lookout if the Wolves win tonight. Just saying. You know the deal. But yeah, guys, we got the shirts, the hats as well. The hats are very popular, and stickers and the shirts and all that stuff. So talk to one of us. We'll get you set up.
Got you.
The thank you to National Fleet Graphic, Crown Rental, Tyler Knutson for the stickers, and shout out to W2 Performance. Will Rattel at www.w2performance.com. He is jacked as he has ever been. If you need to get jacked like Will Rattel, just talk to him. That's all you got to do. Talk to him. He's got you set up. www.w2performance.com. And make sure you check out the Brotherly Ballers podcast. Tyler Hermann and Jack Vickers. Yes, we are in the off season, but they're going to try to come out and get some more content for you. Shout out to TLS Performance, our guy Troy Stoudemire Jr., doing his thing over in, I think, Dallas, Texas, I believe. So shout out to him. And make sure you check out the Popcorn Bucket List with Nick Dahlhoff and Ryne Myhrberg. Omni Entertainment. They've got weekly episodes. They've got some shorts that they post on for reviews on movies coming out, so make sure you check those guys out. Omni Entertainment, YouTube, the whole deal. So, with that being said, Wolves in 5, get it done, go Twins. We'll take a look at the Vikings schedule maybe next week, we'll see. But a lot to be said, so and the Wolves might be in the Western Conference Finals again. So we'll keep you up to date. Check out our social medias, the whole deal as well. So, with that being said, Voldy, Zoners, as always, remember, keep in the zone.
Holla!
Thank you for watching MinneZona Sports Live. Join us Wednesdays at 7 p.m. for live show broadcast. And as Voldy likes to say, follow us on all the socials medias.